From Christian Pulisic winning the Champions League with Chelsea to Jesse Marsch being appointed as RB Leipzig's manager, Americans are making a bigger splash in European football than ever before. But this hasn't been a sudden assault on the round ball game, but a steady progression many years in the making. The first American to play in one of the big five leagues of Europe was long before such a concept existed. Armando Frigo, who was born in Indiana but also had an Italian passport, played for Vicenza, Fiorentina and Spezia between 1939 and 1942, before serving in the Italian army and then joining the partisans to fight against the Nazis, who captured and killed him in 1943. The next American to play in a big European league has an even more notorious claim to fame. Joe Gaetian scored the only goal when the USA beat England in the 1950 World Cup and briefly played in Division 1 for Racing Club de Paris. From there, we go to Germany and the 1964-65 Hamburg team. And okay, Andy Mate isn't in this photo, but he did play 6 games for them. Paul Caligiuri's goal clinched the USA's place in the 1990 World Cup, the Americans' first berth since 1950, and he won the last East German Oberliga title with Hansa Rostock in 1991, the same year Thomas Dooley won the West German Bundesliga with Kaiserslautern before the leagues merged. German-born Dooley, whose father served in the US Army and who would later coach the Philippines, wasn't yet an American citizen in 1991, but would go on to become Team USA's captain, replacing John Harkes, who was the first American to play in the Premier League. He turned out in the Prem's inaugural season with Sheffield Wednesday, having played for the club in the old First Division. Then the names started to get more numerous as the US team got better. Steve Cherundolo made a record 302 appearances in the Bundesliga as a one-club man with Hanover. Jovan Kirovski was the first American to win the Champions League with Dortmund in 1997. In England, keepers Brad Friedel and Casey Keller both had long careers in the Premier League. Keller also becoming the first American in La Liga with Rayo Vallecano in 1999. For a while, it seemed goalkeepers were getting the best chances to shine, with that duo joined by Tim Howard at the top of the list of Americans with the most Premier League appearances. The only outfield player in the top 4 is Clint Dempsey. Dempsey joined Fulham in 2007 and is best remembered for his outrageous chip to complete a memorable win over Juventus on the way to the Europa League final in 2010. After 5 years with Fulham and another one with Tottenham, Dempsey left the Prem in his prime to move to the MLS. He may stand as European football's greatest American, but not the greatest American to have played in Europe. Landon Donovan was 16 when he was signed by Bayer Leverkusen, but was loaned back to San Jose in the MLS before finally playing 7 Bundesliga games in 2005. He flopped and returned to the US with LA Galaxy, but had another try in Germany with Bayern Munich in 2009, only to underwhelm again. It wasn't until he was loaned to Everton in 2010, and then again in 2012, that European-based fans got to see what Donovan was capable of. But by then, he was an MLS legend approaching his final years, and a long-term stint across the pond was never going to happen. Speaking of short-term stints, around this time a few of the top American women had brief spells in Europe. Hope Solo played a couple of years with Göteborg in Sweden and then Lyon in France. Megan Rapinoe also had a year with Lyon in 2013, the same year Kristen Press won the Swedish League's Golden Boot. Press also was part of the influx of Americans into England's WSL last year. A group that included Tobin Heath, who joined Press at Manchester United, Alex Morgan, who signed for Tottenham, and Rose Lavelle with Man City. They garnered huge publicity, but they were also short-term deals, and most have headed back to the US. Overall, there have been more misses than hits, much like Josie Altidor's efforts whenever he tried a better league than the Eredivisie. One-time wonder kid Freddie Adu is the most famous miss, while Michael Bradley at Chievo and Roma is probably the biggest hit not yet mentioned. Bradley, far more successful than his father Bob was as the Premier League's first American manager, lasting just 11 games with Swansea City. But there's a new breed of players who also promise an exciting future for the US national team. Christian Pulisic, first with Borussia Dortmund and now a Champions League winner with Chelsea at just 22, leading an invasion of exciting youngsters that include 22-year-old midfielder Weston McKennie of Juventus, Barcelona's 20-year-old right-back Sergiño Dest, 18-year-old attacking midfielder Gio Reyna at Dortmund, and 22-year-old RB Leipzig defensive midfielder Tyler Adams. Unless he's poached this summer, Adams will be joined by compatriot Jesse Marsch, who was appointed Leipzig's manager after impressing at Red Bull Salzburg. Marsh will face some skepticism, particularly with memories still fresh of Bob Bradley's 3 months in Wales. But just as the players broke down the stigma through performance, only a successful manager will start to make an American accent on the touchline sound less foreign. Thanks for watching. For more great content on all things football, make sure you hit the subscribe button.